Sawadee Cup and welcome to another episode here for the Funkit Pod. And it's Monday, and you know what it means. MMA Monday time, of course. So, jumping right into it, and this week it's all about the UFC, obviously, because one championship is, I think, now 11 days away at the time of recording, so it's going to be the next MMA Monday. The others, you know how I feel about their media usage. BKFC I'm probably going to start talking about in March next year when two of the best, biggest, most famous Muay Thai fighters ever will clash in BKFC. So that's when I'll start talking about it. Other than that, PFL, where's the media usage there? Anything we want to post? Anything? PFL, Bellator. You know how I feel about Bellator by now. That there's nothing happening at all in terms of like how to utilize the media or whatever. The only ones that are really doing a good job are obviously UFC and ONE. But as I just said, one event is next week, so not this week. So that's why this week only looking at UFC. And again, it's not just predictions here and so on. I might throw them in here and there, but it's looking at like how they portray those fights, the card, and like how the fighters use the media. So without further ado, I have the card open right here. Let's jump right into it. And let's talk about the main event, of course. Israel last stylebender Adesanya versus Alex Pereira. And yeah, so again, not a prediction, not a breakdown video. You watch Dan Hardy for that. But yeah, so I'm going back and forth at who I think will win. But again, that's not the point of this video. The point is like, let's look at the media. So the UFC, of course, if it's a pay-per-view, as I said before, pay-per-views, they go all out. They're doing a great job, especially like those big pay-per-views like this one in Madison Square Garden. Like they're going all out. Those embeddeds are fantastic that they have on YouTube, of course. The countdown show, those cinematic trailers and interviews are fantastic. So yeah, if they want, then they're the best in the game. Obviously, it's like WWE kind of like, or almost WWE kind of like value that you get there from an entertainment point of view. Now, the latest countdown, they focused on the three main events, so to speak: the main event, the co-main event, and then the featured bout. That's how they call it. Which is Adesanya, Pereira, Carla Esparza, that was a nice pronunciation, versus Zhang Wei Li, and then Poirier versus Chandler. So let's start with the main event, right? So Izzy, of course, always gets the shine. It does like a load of interviews. Had like now also some cinematic or some professional-looking interviews on his own channel, done by Blackamoto, Dave Blackamoto. I love it. That's great. I like it. I like that he's also now fully committed to that, Dave Blackamoto, to do this, which is cool. But yeah, so I mean, you cannot escape him, right? So he's usually doing breakdown shows on his own, or breakdown videos, tips and picks and whatnot, and then reaction videos and so on. So he's always there on his last Styleband channel, which is great, which is exactly what you're supposed to do when you're a fighter, because who knows how long your career is going to last. So you have to have a media presence, and Izzy is doing this very, very well. Love him, hate him. I used to be a huge fan when he was still in kickboxing, and also was very excited when he made it into the UFC. As of late, like I think it's just a bit too much bravado, showing off, and not being as reflective as he maybe should be at times. But it's also part of the public persona, maybe. Which is also fine. So nothing against him there. Not the biggest fanboy, if you want to call it like this, but still very excited to see what he does, and appreciative of the way he approaches the game. Also like the media game, because I think it's pretty smart. For Alex Pereira, can't say much because, again, no English content or barely any English content, of course. You have the UFC interview with subtitles, and then, of course, with translators, interviews with ESPN or whatever, which is fair, obviously, but I just don't know enough of his, like, native language game, unfortunately. In English, which he should be using to reach not only the American audience, but also people like you and me, probably, if you're not a non-native speaker, a non-native English speaker, because lots of us are excited about him, all right? Like, we're like, oh my God, maybe he's the one who stops Izzy now. So we are excited to see him. I'm excited to see him. So I would love to hear more about him. But if it's like just interviews it's like the same answers always. Like, I beat him twice, or gonna beat him again. Like those short glimpses into his personality, like with those IG videos, for example. He seems to be quite funny and quite like not but funny, but also very determined, dedicated, of course. Like this bow and arrow thingy that he does, this archery thing, respect. But then also when he was like on this hoverboard, it was funny. Like, more of this, man, Alex. More of this. Like, no matter how it goes this coming weekend, more of this, Alex Pereira, because I think people are gonna like you, man. Just really take a book out of Paulo Costa's. A page out of Paulo Costa's book, or take the whole book from Paulo Costa, because people love him now. So yeah, go that route. You don't have to be like the mean foreigner all the time. Like, go that route of like just embrace your personality, man. So I would love to see more from Alex Pereira. Then my pick, not another review picture, but I just throw my picks in there. I know. Either Adesanya by decision or Pereira by KO, of course. I mean, that's the obvious answer. Co-main event, Carla Esparza versus Zhang Weili. And here, what I find funny here is that the non-native English speaker, Zhang Weili, actually has cooler posts, like social media-wise, than the champ, than Carla Esparza, who is from the United States. Carla Esparza's content very often comes across a little bit cringy, but there have been others before her that were so successful. Henry Cejudo. But she's not, it doesn't look like she's that cringy on purpose. And I think that might be the problem, because Cejudo and so on, they're cringy on purpose, but Carla is just like, I'm not sure. But then again, her story is cool, right? I mean, she was the champ 8 years ago, and it took her 8 years to come back, and then she reclaimed it against Rose again. So that was great. That's a great story. But I mean, that's the end of the road right now, I think. And Zhang Weili's posts are just half inspirational, half funny, and I mean, nothing to write home about per se. But she posts from the training camp, and I'm a bit biased because I live in Thailand, right? Zhang Weili trains in Thailand, in Phuket at Bang Tao Muay Thai. That's the gym owned by the Hickman brothers, who are quite famous. And yeah, so I might be a bit biased there, because of course I would like to have or be able to say like, hey, she trained in Thailand and that's why she won. But it's just like more of see more content of her like doing normal things in Thailand, in Phuket, and going to train, and like then just her road to redemption, like how like she talks about it more openly. I feel like if she would speak English better and wouldn't have had everything translated, then maybe she would have an even bigger fan base, because people like her. I was about to say for some reason, that I don't mean this as an insult, but usually, especially American audience, is like very opposed to a fighter from China. But Zhang Weili seems to kind of like win over the people, and so same here. Like if she just tries a little bit harder with the language, maybe then I think she can have like a really big fan base. So Zhang Weili, keep doing what you're doing. Post stuff from Thailand, from when you're training in Phuket, but maybe just go a little bit more in. That would be really cool. Then the featured lightweight bout, Dustin Poirier. Oh, my pick is obviously Zhang Weili by whatever. Death Stare. So the featured bout is Dustin Poirier versus Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler is not there for a long time, but for a good time. It's been quite a long time now already, isn't it? The 5th or 6th fight now. So new contract even, so maybe he's there for a longer time. Media wise, I mean, Chandler is just like perfect, isn't he? That's the annoying thing. So he does everything well, inspirational content all the time, family content with his adoptive kids, so you can't hate on him for that, which is not really like, I mean, props to Michael Chandler for being just a good person, apparently, just really annoying. He's once he's gonna stop fighting, he's gonna have a role in the media with the UFC, with ESPN, whatever he wants to do. Like his story, he's doing great on all media wise. So if you want a blueprint, steal that one. Dustin Poirier doesn't really do much media, and I think that's what he should be doing better. Then again, I guess like he's focusing on his foundation / his hot sauce, and if that hot sauce business is that good, then keep doing it. I mean, apparently he doesn't need, because he's at a stage right now, he's famous enough. If he wouldn't be set up already, he would change something by now probably. If I would give advice, I would say, man, you're such a personality. People still like you, like those people who like the hardworking guy, like the blue collar people. I think like Dustin Poirier. So he could do much more there also with his social media engagement, for example. People like to listen to him. He could do more breakdowns and stuff like this. He could have like a bigger audience if he would want to, but I think he's just happy with his I was about to say sriracha with his hot sauce. So good on him, but if he would want to, I think it would be rather easy for him to reach a wider audience. But okay, all those 3 bouts are of course talked about quite a lot in the media. The UFC focuses, of course, on the championship, on the main event, because the co-main is also a championship bout. In the co-main, I think they focus more on Zhang Weili. I think the UFC doesn't like Carla Esparza, like from how I looked at the countdown and so on. And for the featured lightweight bout, Poirier Chandler, they didn't spend that much time on it. I think like 10 minutes or so of the 45 minutes of the countdown show, or the countdown, not the countdown show. But still highlighting them, of course. Other than that, there is really not much talk about Frankie Edgar, for example, which is his last retirement bout. Like, why don't you have like a whole tribute, homage to Frankie Edgar now running? Like a Frankie Edgar special should be on the UFC YouTube right now, for example. Instagram should be all the posts should be about like Frankie Edgar and whatnot, like the legend and all those things. So why is this not happening is the question, right? So I think that's a missed opportunity right there. Then also like the first fight on the main card, like Dan Hooker versus Claudio Puelles. I think Puelles isn't really known yet, probably, even though it's a great fighter. But man, it's Dan Hooker. Like you have so many highlights from Dan Hooker fights. Like why don't you run more of this? And why do you only focus on Izzy versus Pereira? And then just imagine it's a stinker. Oh, people are gonna hate it. Like so, I would just focus more on the other fights too, at least, I don't know, highlight them a little bit more. Yeah, we have in the prelims, you have Brad Riddell versus, Renato Moicano, which is also a great fight. You have Dominic Reyes versus Ryan Spann. Fantastic fight, from the name-wise. You have Molly McCann on the prelims, which you could sell the shit out of it. You have Petrosky versus Wellington Turman, no idea. But like most of those fights, you could sell so much more. So the UFC is really only Adesanya. What are you gonna do once Adesanya's? If he loses, you're gonna be like all in on Pereira, really? Boy, that's that's what I would do. But by the way, that poster is terrible. that fight poster, Adesanya Pereira, terrible. There, UFC, terrible. But okay. I'm still very intrigued, of course, about the whole fight card. I'm definitely gonna watch it, obviously. I assume you too, so let me know your thoughts. How do you think the UFC, the UFC should have, use the media to highlight those different fighters, highlight the whole fight card maybe even. And who do you pick? Make your picks in the comments. I'm really curious, like Team Adesanya, Team Pereira. Will Frankie Edgar go out on this shield or will he go out victorious? Let me know in the comments. As always, thanks for joining. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. That would really be appreciated. Rate this podcast if you're listening. Wherever you listen, rate it. And don't forget to stay safe, take care, and always keep your guard up. Sawadee Cup.